Hello, beautiful soul. I'm Vicki Howie of ChakraBoosters.com, and please excuse the shaky phone camera this week. I just could not resist talking to you this week, and I was having troubles with my camera setup, and I said, hey, I have a camera on my phone. So I'm coming to you a little more casually this week, and ironically, I want to talk to you about addictions and how addictions relate to the chakras. And I am truthfully a little bit addicted to talking to you each week. So this is perfect, right? And the first question I have for you is, do you know which chakra is related the most to addiction? It's always existing. An overage of this chakra is always related to addiction. Okay, think about it. Which chakra is about stability? But maybe so much stability that it sometimes turns into being stuck. That's right, it's about routine, it's about repetition and habits. Addictions are just negative habits that are repetition, right? So it's the root chakra. If you said root, you're correct. Oh, it's windy here today. And the root is that repetitive chakra that we need so much. We really do need it. But sometimes the habits that we have can be negative ones, and that's what we usually call an addiction, a habit that we don't have the will to stop doing, and it's just not good for us. So the first issue whenever you see an addiction is the person has an overage of root chakra. Now, that's good news for you upper chakra dominant people that don't tend to have much root. Like me, like in my lineage, there's a lot of addiction and I haven't had to deal with much of it. But interestingly, now that I've actually healed my root and I'm getting stronger and stronger my root, I can feel these subtle, more addictive tendencies coming up. Just more ability for me to get into habits and patterns and get tied into things and want them on a consistent basis. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so I want to talk to you then about how do you know what other chakras are involved in addictions? Well, it's really pretty logical because you guys are my chakra tribe. You know your chakras pretty well, a lot of you. So it's really very logical. For instance, sex addiction, very much usually involved with the sacral, unless sometimes men put power with sex, so it could be in the third chakra, an overage there and a need to express that energy. But remember, it's always root plus whatever chakra I'm talking about. With gambling, I tend to see a lack of third and sometimes a lack of fifth or even an overage of fifth. So you get mixtures. The fifth chakra is where we have truth, but it's also the risk taker. So the gamblers like to risk take, but then they usually like to avoid the truth. They like to be in more of a fantasy. So the fifth can go either way on that one. Typically though, third chakra people like to have their own power and they like to go after things they can count on a little more, like make it happen themselves. So often you'll see a lower third chakra, a lower solar plexus chakra with a gambling addiction. Now, let me just hold the camera here. This is a good workout for my arms. So what do you think would be a shopping addiction? What is shopping? Well, think about it. Shopping is about being very attached to physical, manifest things, and that is the domain of the root. Whenever you see hoarding or lots and lots of shopping, this is an overage of the root. So you have the overage that creates the addiction in the first place, and then you have even more root overage. So that's like double root overage that is hoarding and shopaholic. Same can be true often of alcoholics because alcohol is a downer. Now let's talk about drugs for a minute, okay? You can know a lot about the drugs that people get addicted to. The three biggies in our culture are what? Alcohol, marijuana, and then uppers, whether it's crack or cocaine or whatever. And what's very interesting is each one of those correspond to a different lower chakra. I just think it's so fascinating. Like we find these ways to use these outside things to fulfill what we really already have within us. So root chakra is alcohol. So sometimes though it's not about having an overage of root, interesting, sometimes people have an overage of like third and they can't relax. They can't come into their body or they're too upper chakra. So what they'll do sometimes is take the alcohol to actually bring them down into their body. But there's also, I see those two opposite ends of the spectrum. I see people who love to have the alcohol because they have a lot of root chakra and they actually relate to it. Okay, so alcohol is related to root chakra. And do you know which one marijuana is related to? Think about it. Okay, nobody's gonna hurt anybody when they're high on marijuana. It's all about love and connection and pleasure and the eating. People get the munchies, right? So we're talking about the chakra that's related to taste, the sacral, the chakra that's related to feminine intimacy, the sacral. So whenever someone goes to pot, you often see a tendency for more communion with others, for more sexuality, for more pleasure, and for more eating. All right, and then finally, the third one, the way people often will fill in the third chakra is with uppers. Cocaine was a big one. I don't know if it's as big now as it used to be. It was a big problem area for many people because they would take it and they would feel on top of the world. And when you're really in your third chakra, in your solar plexus, you feel on the top of the world. You feel empowered in your life. You feel happy and optimistic. And there's just that go-getter attitude and high energy, take charge. So that's, you know, your upper drugs, your uppers that make you happy, that speed you up, get you going. Those are the, that's the third chakra realm, right? Makes sense, huh? So interesting, this whole addiction thing with the chakras. Why don't we just do the chakra work and then we don't need to be addicted to any of these things? I'm going to ask you to think about other addictions. Like sexual addiction has other elements that are more complicated. Like the heart is often weak with sexual. They're looking for love. They're looking for more than just the sex. What addictions can you think of? I'd love to have you comment below and tell me, either ask me about addictions or actually give it a shot at guessing how you think certain chakras relate. And even though I'm telling you these basics, there are no exactly right answers. That's what I love about the art of working with the chakras. There is an interpretive element. So don't get too caught up in it being, you know, exactly right. Just have fun. Give it a guess. Let me know what you want to know, or let me know what you think about any of the addictions that you see in your life, of your own or others, and let's keep the dialogue going. Okay, so obviously doing chakra work does help us in this area. Doing upper chakra work will lighten addictions almost all the time, because the root cause of addictions is being stuck in the root. The root cause is the root. So do prayer, meditation, move on up if you're finding yourself addicted. And the same is true for depression. So if those two show up, go for the upper chakras. I will see you on the next video. Thank you so much for dealing with my shaky cam. I love you so much. Have a beautiful week. Blessings.